What's up, dweebs, and welcome to this week's episode of Mr. Satan's DweebCast. I'm your host, Mr. Satan, and this week I have my friend The WNDRSOUL. You can follow him on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all that at The WNDRSOUL. He is a fellow YouTube content creator that won the giveaway contest that Notorious Nerds and I did at the beginning of the month. And I hit him up and asked him if he wanted to collab just because I got put into contact with him. Turns out, great guy. Had a wonderful connection that we captured in this podcast. First time ever talking. You can really see like anime bring two people together. There's a bit of a lag issue, but the connection and everything was so real. I thought I'd edited it all up the same and figured it was bearable enough for you guys to want to enjoy and consume as well. If the lag is too real, let me know in the comments below. I'll make sure to have higher standards for quality in the future. But without further ado, enjoy this week's episode. But yeah, as I was saying, I went to get a Switch ever since I saw that Poke Tekken game. Did you ever see the like images or gameplay of that?
Are you talking about the one that like was a one of the early releases on the Switch? Like that Pokemon
like,
fighting game?
Yes. Yes. That game looks so cool.
That's dope, dude. Yeah, I don't think I've gotten to play it though, but I think it's just fun that they're actually taking Pokemon and it's not like the regular old battling. Yeah, right. You can actually like button mash, Super Smash Bros. Vibes and stuff like that. Well, not right, technically, but fighting. Yeah.
But like to feel like the way to use those Pokemon's powers, it just has to feel it has to feel like, I don't know. It seems like it looks intuitive and like it would just feel cool to like, I don't know. You have, like in those games, you really like in like Tekken style fighting games, you really like kind of get a feel for how that like power works. And that's kind of one of my favorite things in anime is like how powers work. That's why in original like Pokemon and shit, like hear about like Charmander and how his flame is like his life source and everything, you know, like things like that are really cool. Like I wish they would have touched more on how like Bulbasaur has to keep his like plant alive on his back or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like add in that extra layer of depth. It
exactly.
Just those little details.
The games and like the descriptions they give Pokemon, like in like, you know, the actual like the data they give of Pokemon versus what they like portray in the show is always so much more in depth. And in the games, there's always like darker elements that the show will never go to. So I will always hold out hope that we'll get like an actual Pokemon anime someday where it's like the Elite Four or, you know, it's all about Red and, you know, just not about Ash. I need a badass protagonist for Pokemon. I don't need it. Go ahead.
Would you be down for like a more serious, like tone Pokemon? Like, cause isn't there like wars in Pokemon that have happened in the actual story, but you know that they talk about that where Pokemon were like soldiers or something like that, something crazy.
Right. Do you know the YouTuber Nuxtaku? He makes a lot of anime related YouTube content, and he did this episode on the truth about the Elite Four or something like that, and in there is where I realized that there's like a whole Pokemon manga that's been coming out recently, and it's like been about the Elite Four. That's why I suggested that one. And like in there, like Pokemon really dying and shit, like a Charmander. A Charmeleon using like Slash to cut a Arbok's like head off, and you see the cross section of like the meat. It looks like a cartoon steak. You know what I'm saying? Like
something from Tom and Jerry or something.
Yes. Exactly that. And I'm just like, okay, can Pokemon please actually go there? Because like, is this canon? Like, is this?
I think it would be fun, man. I think a lot of these properties could do that. Like, realize that some of their fans are older now, so provide them like know like two different kinds of content.
Bro,
you know?
give me a grown up Yu-Gi-Oh and a grown up Digimon, bro.
Oh my gosh, man! Can you imagine like not everything needs like a dark twist, but you don't have to be dark to be sure. You know, you could just have some stuff. A lot of these, you know, they deal with death in Pokemon. You don't really see it because, like in the first game, it's that one town. What is it, Lavender Town?
Right,
that
and you got the
were
tower.
yeah, the tower of all the dead Pokemon, and there's like all those like
Every
spooky.
Pokemon game has a certain cemetery or something like that, like a dead Pokemon tower or something. Like every single,
Yeah.
it's an element that they have to have. Or else, how are they going to throw all the ghost Pokemon at you?
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. Ghost Pokemon and all that, are they just like souls of other Pokemon? Like, is
Yeah,
that
a
where they
lot
come
of
from?
like on the Cerebi.net and a lot of different Pokemon books. I don't know where they're actually like put where they put the information out at, but I've read up on like a lot of the different, and they're not considered theories, it's considered like truth. Like, the Cubone one is like Cubone's like mom's like,
The skull.
skull. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people think a haunter and like a ghastly is like an
Mhm.
electrode that blew up and
Ooh, that's
that like
cool.
self-destructed, and like there's certain ones like their eyes, or like, oh no, that's a good one. Gengar is a Clefairy.
Ooh, I like that.
Gengar's a dead Clefairy.
That works.
Yeah.
That works
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
All right, so I
That,
sent you a
that,
list of.
see, that,
Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
no, just saying, like, yeah, that's believable. That's that kind of stuff with the lore where you're like, I
Mm.
don't know if it's like spot on, but I can see that working,
Right.
But go on, man. You
No,
good.
I love and there's also like stories for like the new like sandcastle one of the last generation, the Lola one. There was like a sandcastle ghost one. They have that one has like a story whenever you like looked it up and everything. But there's all the ghost Pokemon have like a story, but then there's all the theories on like how it could be. There's a really good one for Haunter too. I can't remember.
Ooh, I'm gonna have
I
to
can't
check that
remember.
out.
Yeah, but so I sent you a list of the new Pokemon. What
Hmm.
do you have you looked at any of the new Pokemon yet?
Yeah, like I've seen them in the trailers. I haven't read too much on them, but I've looked, you can kind of tell from the way they look and stuff. But yeah, like I actually think they are pretty cool as far as like the like, are we talking about just the starters or just every
We can
new?
no, we can start with just the starters. The starters,
Okay.
they do a great job at not giving us the other evolutions, man, because
Yeah.
holy shit do I need to know, because it can go any which way right now, honestly. Like, I
Yeah.
don't have
And you
hopes
got,
for the
I think
fire
everybody
starter, I'll tell
takes,
you that.
really, for Score Bunny.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh cool, like a girly bunny one. It's gonna look like the fox one that got
Oh yeah, I know which one you're
Phoenix.
talking about. I forgot the
Yeah,
name. Yeah.
yeah.
I think that evolution always plays a major role in my selection, though. Like, if I might like the first, and I might have an attachment to it, but if I look at like, oh, what's your third evolution, and I don't dig it,
It's like
then
I
I might have to
boy,
be like,
because
yeah,
I'm gonna play with you for about 20 minutes before you evolve, you little bitch.
yeah, yeah. So
I'm gonna go
can't really get
grind
too.
you in a patch of grass until you evolve before I even
Oh my
try it,
god.
Jim.
And that's something I'm excited about when it comes to Sword and Shield, man, is this like whole open world vibe where you see the Pokemon out and about, like in real life. They're not just like you don't just walk through the grass without seeing the Pokemon. So there's not going to be those surprise battles. You can maneuver through the world without fighting, but you'll know like, oh, there is a gas over there, and you can run up to him. I think that's
Right.
cool. That will definitely cut some time. Think about all the time that we spent in caves or even just like running through grass to catch a single Pokemon, that we wouldn't know, it's like pulling a lever. So you don't know what you're about to get. So, I think this would save a lot of
But
time. So
that's part of the excitement for me. That's something
yeah,
I'm gonna wind up missing, I think, because like it's kind of it's an endorphin release like that you get every time that you get something cool. You're like it's gambling. It's
yeah.
Pokemon roulette.
Wow, it is. Yeah, I mean, you could definitely look at it
And what
like
about
that.
the dudes that grind for shinies? What about those entire YouTube channels for guys
Oh,
that grind for
oh,
shinies?
that's right. I don't know. Yeah, maybe there'll be special ones that pop up. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look into that some more. I'm actually interested. Because like that takes a whole concept away from the game,
Yeah,
like you were
no,
saying.
it's a fundamental. I hope that there's still random patches of grass that get you, and I hope that there's also you could a lot more like Pokemon just immersed there. But I
Yeah.
feel like if you take out the random patch of grass thing, you're gonna have a hard time. That's like, well, maybe I don't need a Switch. That's my first thought. That's my first
Ooh.
thought when you said that.
No.
It just
No,
hurt me that
man.
much. It's like, oh, well.
I I don't know, man. Like, because this being the first Pokemon on home consoles, you're wondering what things that they implemented in these games because of what they were working with, and now
Right.
that
Like, oh, but we
they're
can go
on like
further
strong.
now.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, and so like now we don't know what was a choice when they were making Pokemon because of it's on a handheld, it's on Game Boy
Mm.
running on like some double A's, but now they're on like a Switch with it's a hybrid,
But
but
we didn't even
it's
used to
definitely
have
packaged
color
in.
beforehand. There was Pokemon before there was Pokemon Color. Like
Exactly.
that
Or
that
backlit screens when you were having to like play like this under lights and
bro,
stuff,
or the
man.
little bro. I remember whenever my cousins got the little light attachment first, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, so you get to play all the time? What's
All
that
the time.
like?
Dude,
What's
exactly.
that like? He's like, no, I
So,
don't sleep. Mom tells me to go to bed, and I just turn on the light.
hey, there you go. Are you talking about the purple little like spiral one that they had?
Yeah, the little
Yeah.
attachment light that plugs into the
Yeah.
back. Uh,
Classic.
so with the other new Pokemon,
Top of
oh, I'm sorry, dude. I keep thinking it
you
was
good,
lagging.
bro. No, you good.
All right, with the other new Pokemon, man, I don't know, man. So I really like this Gigantamax form thing. I really think that that's gonna be.
I don't know. I, I don't know yet.
Well, you know what? All right. So, good point. I don't know if I like it. I like that there's different forms of Pokemon that I already like.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
I love seeing them reimagined in different ways. I like that the new gigantic Pikachu looks like the fat original Pikachu.
Yeah, exactly. Just the
That
one that was on the card, right? We're
yeah,
talking.
man,
Yeah,
it's so
yeah, the
fat.
OG.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. This Dreadnought one, if you scroll down in that list, that
All right.
turtle looking one, that Dreadnought, he looks like I would have been stoked if he was the
Ooh.
fucking starter, dude. If he was if he was the second evolution of he's not obviously because he doesn't
Oh,
look
is
anything
not
like that other starter. He's a standalone. He's gonna be some water, maybe
rock
rock.
type?
Yeah, that's what
Cool.
I'm thinking. Which water rock, water ground, those are two types that are weak against each other. So that would be kind of cool to have. And then if he has
Ooh.
like a giant HP, that'd be helpful.
That's actually pretty unique, man. I think that they're one of the benefits. I know a lot of people are upset about the lack of certain Pokemon being in Sword and Shield. And I don't know if we really know the specifics of what Pokemon are getting
No,
cut
no.
out from previous generations. But
They're-
dude, you have to get into mix new. And I think these new evolutions and the new unique Pokemon like Dreadnought, it looks like they're doing some cool, unique things by combining. Well, what if we took two types or weak against each other and put them in one Pokemon? Let's
right.
just like start being more creative because there are generations, and this might upset people, but I think everybody has a favorite generation of Pokemon. But also, there's going to be those ones where you felt like the ideas were running pretty dry. You're like, okay, what is this?
Well,
You're
did
just
you see
looking
the
at what's
fucking
around you and go, this
bro?
could be a
Scroll down
Pokemon.
in that list to
Okay.
Alcremie. Look.
Oh
Have you
no,
seen Alcremie? That's the lackluster one.
the one that looks like a strawberry sundae.
Yeah, and then you see the
Oh,
gigantic form of it. It's a giant
oh my
cake.
god! Somebody had cake that day, bro, and just was like eating. It's like I'm having like writer's block or artist block. I got something due by 3, and it's lunchtime, man. It
So it was
was
like,
Jennifer's
how do we
birthday.
make
I
strawberry
think I make
the
a after.
They're in the editor's boardroom and they're like, okay, so what ways can we draw girls to like Pokemon? Well, what do girls like? Strawberry shortcake. What if we made a strawberry shortcake Pokemon?
Exactly, dude. That can you imagine how fun it must be to be in one of those rooms to like really? I mean, the ideas must be so wacky. There must be a whole like
I want to know
top
what
secret
that
list.
board of guys is. Yeah, right. Like, what level of like credentials of creativity do you have to get on the board of Pokemon
Exactly.
Invader?
Let us know. Let us know. We want. I'm sure that we could. I think they need to do a better
Most
job.
prestigious list.
Yeah, let fans create Pokemon. That's what they're going to end up doing. Probably is just be like, "Yo, guys, we're done. We're dry. Submit your suggestions and we'll take them." Because there's like one Pokemon I'm seeing right now on this list. It's like the one that's inspired by Kiss and the band and everything. What's that?
The Obstagoon.
Obstagoon or something? Yeah, bro. Some guy
That one
like
looks bad, man. That's one of the ones I'm like,
it looks cool,
that's
bro.
cringy.
It looks cool though. Like, come on, man. They're having fun, I guess, and that's where I'm like, all right, at least it's not like a doorknob, and you're like, it's a doorknob type Pokemon, and look at it, and it's like,
Right,
nah,
the one that was a Klefki, the one that's a key of rings. I was like, a ring.
get out of here, get out of here with that.
The ghost Litwick, the Litwick one I like understand, but like some of the ones like the ghost ones are it's like, but what if a ghost was in a key ring? And I'm like, no, it's not. So stop. It's not.
Yeah.
So stop.
How'd that get approved? Yeah, I bet you can't, you can't diss them for trying, I mean, I guess.
Bro, scroll down.
Oh no.
Poltegeist.
Okay.
Punny.
Now, this is like there's a Pokemon that I don't know the name of that has like a Pikachu outfit on, or that has like, that's like disguised as Pikachu. This Pokemon reminds me of that.
Mimikyu?
Kind of teacup, Yeah. It's
Uh,
weird.
Are you talking about the more Pika one, or did you scroll down to that so you're
Oh.
talking about the other ghost type one?
Is there another ghost type?
No. You're talking about. I think you're talking about the right one. There's also that more Pico one that looks like a Pikachu but is not. That's what I know. That's what you're
Oh no, but yeah, see, like that's just something that sells like plushies and stuff,
right. It has
I think they're constantly
angry form.
yeah, they're just looking for like they need to find that new cute Pokemon that's gonna sell.
Right.
Pikachu is such a simple design if you really look at him, but it's just like become the face of the franchise, and they've become key Pokemon, and nobody else really rises up to that level of popularity. And it's kind of interesting, because there's a lot of these that have a lot of different details to them. Somebody put a lot of thought into it, and some that don't, like the the all creamy, just like, oh, I'm having yogurt today. I think I'm gonna make a Pokemon after.
Where's the yogurt Pokemon? Why isn't there?
Yeah, we don't have that, do we? They must have a checklist too.
Bro, they have an ice cream Pokemon that's basically the fucking a couple ingredients off. But like man. This one above the Poltegeist one, the Cramorant, whichever it is, I don't understand why every Pokemon game has to have like a water bird type Pokemon. Like every time they're like, ooh, we need something to fly around the beach. That's not a pelican. I don't know. It's just like I'm like you could just. I think we would have been fine if you would have used one of the older generations ones that you've already made. You don't need to keep making the same stereotype of something to fill that like, just like the space of what you had in all the other ones.
Yeah, it's not really unique. It's probably some CEO's like kid who's like, all right, I promised my son his Pokemon was going to make it into our next game. And it's like, yeah, but we already have something like that, sir. It's like,
let him make the water bird type again. Let him
let him just do it. All right.
words. Let him
Yeah, life's stressful enough. I don't want to go home and hear from the wife and kids that his Pokemon's not in this game. And dad works for Pokemon and stuff. So I don't know, man. It does feel like they always have to fill certain like tropes. Like, hey, we got to have that one Pokemon. Remember, we got to fill these certain like criteria marks here. So
that's what sells.
yeah,
So is
yeah,
Pokemon
true.
where you started with anime?
What's that?
So where is Pokemon where you could like say you started with anime?
Ooh. I don't think it was where I started with anime. I think it would be what introduced me to that world and
Art,
culture.
right?
Yeah. But I mean, I was so on and off with the Pokemon anime, because I think it was like I, I was watching tonight, like Derby Kids or something else. So yeah, I would watch it every now and then, especially like on Saturdays, I think. Work at one point. But no, it was definitely my introduction to Japanese culture, a lot of that and everything like that, as far as like, introducing me to things like anime, like Dragon Ball and stuff. But
Right, that
it
art
was,
style kind of
yeah,
breaking that wall for you.
I know, like anime and that everything that comes from Japan and out there has like a certain personality to it that
Right.
kind of like connect them, and so it was something that as a kid allowed me to learn and kind of get my first taste of what to expect from anything. So when I watched Dragon Ball, it wasn't as like, whoa, what is this? Because Pokemon had kind of already, in some way or another, introduced me to like these ideas and this wackiness and like you said, the art style.
Right.
So, but no,
I always
Dragon.
find that with other like as you like further go along with like an anime, at least for me, like it's weird how each anime I watch kind of just like pushes the boundary more and more for what I find believable within anime. Because if you would have told me like fucking 5 years ago that I'd be watching like Assassination Classroom or Food Wars,
Ooh,
like these like different like weird ass fucking animes, like just when I try to tell other people about them that don't watch anime, like I go to work in this shithole factory with where nobody in my like realm exists, and I go
oh
to
man.
tell my friend, I'm like, let's go tell this guy I talk to all the time, I'm like, so I'm watching this show, uh, this cooking anime where everybody cooks and it's really intense and they orgasm when they eat and it's really weird, but I fuck with it. I can't stop watching it. And he's like, "What are you?"
What?
Right, like you can't but like now I'm like ready to start something like JoJo's or something like that, like these other,
Ooh.
they get weirder and weirder, and I'm like, I used to be like deterred by this, but like how my girlfriend just finished Naruto and Shippuden, and like when you first start Naruto Shippuden and you see like Sasuke or like see any of the characters that have like those giant ropes tied around their waist, you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You're
yeah, yeah.
like, I don't know, it's some weird anime shit because I remember thinking that. I remember thinking that when I saw it, and then when I was showing her, she was like, "What's up with the lame ass ropes around their waist? Does that ever do anything?" I was like, "No," and I did used to think that was weird too. But you just accept anime shit the more anime you watch.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you have to. I think the quicker you just let yourself just kind of fully embrace the world that is anime and what it's presenting you it's when you start to enjoy it the most. I mean, it's because like you kind of probably have to take it in steps and start at certain animes and then push it and push it. Because like
Exactly. You
Power
can't just jump to
Wars
the
and even
weird.
JoJo's, no, you can't. And if you did, there's probably a 50-50 chance you would be interested in any other anime. It might be to the point where it's like, whoa, this
Right.
was too weird. But who knows? I mean, I think now anime at least to me, how it's been presented, because Food Wars is on Toonami now, and that's like
Dude, it just got picked up. That's insane to me. I was just learning about that today because I was trying to find out when the new season's gonna be dubbed, because season 3 still hasn't been dubbed. But beginning of it says the beginning of 2020, it's gonna be airing on Toonami dubbed. I'm like, what? What?
Well, dude,
Oh.
it's like, I mean, if you haven't seen Food Wars, and I've watched a good bit of it now, but it's a shonen in a way, but it's not your typical, because like you were mentioning, it's
Is it
some
it's my
bizarre
first slice of life.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does fall more into that category, and I have become more attracted to those kind of animes. I've talked to people about slice of life animes, and one of the things that I like is that it deals with like some real life shit. Like, I try to find, and there's always going to be things that Ash and Goku and Deku and all these characters do.
But you can only like try so hard to save your friends over and over again. That can't be the only thing. You can't just be saving the world from doom. It sometimes has to be, how do I make my noodle dish better than his, like, or like the risotto, or the food side. So I love food shows. I know that you like food wars. Like, I love food shows. So for whenever I finally just like tried that one, I was like, what? Like, this is the best way. Like, food shows wish they could do this. Food shows wish they could.
bro, if anybody watching or listening to this likes anything on Food Network, likes cooking, something I'm telling you about Food Wars that's just so captivating is the food. I know that sounds really simple and weird, but like every time I watch Food Wars, it makes me so hungry, because they make the food look so
much, bro. I feel like I'm learning so much.
Exactly. That's like Dr. Stone, though, too, man. Dr. Stone will teach you a thing or two.
Bro, that's where I was gonna draw the next parallel. My girl is going to school for engineering management, and like so like they show actual. Bro, I'm just I'm pretty oblivious, and I'm like Goku in the head sometimes, bro. And I'm just like, I just let the shit pass by, and she's like, oh, I recognize that formula, and that formula, like, that's all like flowing behind him and shit. I'm like, oh, that shit's real. They could have made it up for as far as I was fucking concerned, man. like, oh shit, okay. And I was like, dude, I know what nitric acid is now. Dr. Stone's great.
Yo, I'm telling you, man. Like, if you can sit down and watch an anime and get something out of it, and that's what's so cool and attractive about shows like Food Wars and Doctor Stone is. Now, like, something like, for me, My Hero is a show that pulls me in for different reasons. Like, yeah, they are kind of doing the whole save the world thing, but there's like underlying motivating themes that I find that I pull from it. But like something like a slice of life, it's like they're not trying to save the world; they're trying to save their world. Like they're trying to, and I find like that's really relatable.
No, no, I agree completely. Like, it's it really, without shoving it in your face, it like is a way for people who watch to understand that it doesn't have to be the end of the world to be the main problem. Like, you can feel the way you feel about shit, man. Like, it doesn't have to be the end of the world. It could be the end of your world. Exactly. I really like how you phrased that.
Yeah, man. That's the thing about slice of life. I think it'll pull you in. It'll show you stories and characters that feel real, feel like real life stuff. Like you might fail this test, you might lose this job. Your problems, relationship problems, friend problems. Life
you might
just
burn
problems.
this fucking omelet, but
Yeah, especially with something like Food Wars. Like, one of the things in the beginning was like, his own family restaurant, stuff like that. And there's like a pride. It was like, not really this, oh, I gotta, like Goku, I just want to get stronger, and that's what I like to fight. It was more of like I everybody has like things that they're proud of and, you know, they want to protect. And, you know, it doesn't always require you throwing fists and stuff. Maybe it's like using your other skills and using your head and other things like that. So I appreciate it because anime now is so diverse, so filled with variety and something for everybody. So I think now it's like really easy to pitch it to people if you know who you're talking to. Like, so, you know, if you know somebody that you work with doesn't really know much about anime, you don't suggest JoJo's right off the bat. But if you know that person and they give off a vibe based off of what they've told you they watch that's not anime, you know, Rick and Morty, well, you seem like you like Morty, so that means that you're more open to like wacky, crazy shit. So let's go ahead and throw this and check that out. You know,
well,
so
I
I think it's like
at work that's like into Vikings and Game of Thrones and shit. So I was like, maybe he'd like Black Clover or maybe a new one like Vinland. I don't know if you heard of that one. I haven't started that one yet, but I really want to start that one just considering like what it is about. I kind of try to wait for things to get dubbed though, man. I ain't gonna lie, I'm a dweeb, man. I prefer a dub.
Nothing wrong with that, man. That's how it is for me. If I start a show dubbed, I gotta rock with it dubbed. If I start with a sub, like I'm more open to just going with it. I think when you do watch an anime and sub, dude, man, those people, they absorb 3 levels of information. You know what I'm saying? You're reading it, you're hearing it to some extent, and you're seeing it. Like if you know, if you're watching something dubbed, you can kind of like get on your phone and kind of glance up, check it. But if you're watching something sub, bro, you got to be like really into it because you know, unless you know Japanese, you know.
Bro, you ever be watching a sub and be thinking that you are like you be watching a sub for a long time and you're like oh, that character's talking and you're just like, but you like look away and you forget that it's in Japanese and like you think you're listening and you're like, oh fuck, I actually don't know anything he said in the past.
Yeah, hold up, what? Yeah, it's a bizarre experience, man, and that too can be a hard pitch for people. You know, to deal with subtitles, something that's in a foreign language. But, you know, and sometimes the sub is better than the dub and vice versa. I think that's an argument that could be made, but I think it's all about preference, you know.
Yo, what dub do you like more than the sub? Dragon Ball, obviously. Besides Super, I like original Dragon Ball dubbed. But maybe it's because I watched Super subbed first because I watched Super as it was coming out last year or the year before. 1 second, my dog's barking. He's a Great Dane, so it's really fucking loud. Opie. But I watched Dragon Ball subbed as it was coming out like 2 years ago. It's the Super, and I just got the Funimation app. I saw that it was all on there. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll watch that passively while I edit shit. So I threw it on and I was like, I was so irked by all the voices. And it's so weird. I all of a sudden like prefer the Japanese ones. And I used to like, I watched Dragon Ball before dubbed and then I watched it subbed and now I can't watch it dubbed again. I think the voices must have changed for Super. I think damn dude. I think the voices changed for Super because they're not all the same. Like especially like the Beerus voice in Super, like for the tournament arc versus Beerus for the like Battle of the Gods one, like the original, like that one where he debuted. His voice seems different. I'm gonna look it up, but like I don't know if that's like all of them, and it's weird because I didn't think I associated like voices with all the different gods of all the other universes. I didn't really think I associated their Japanese voices with them because I was reading it. But now that I watch it dubbed, I'm like, oh, that's not how you sound. That's not right.
It can be such an interesting thing, and some people get worried when, like for instance, Demon Slayer. That's just now coming out dubbed, but it's already been. Oh, dude, man, me too, man. Like I started watching some of it sub, but then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna hold out and see
Because
what's
well,
up.
and that one's art. See, certain ones, my argument for dubs is always that one's art is so valuable to pay attention to. It's so
Yeah,
beautifully, eloquently done. I want to pay attention to it, but I can't if I'm reading. Like I can, but like it would be much better if I could just look at the fucking full screen. You know what I mean? As much as
yeah.
everyone was like, no, you just have to do both. I'm like, yes, you can do both, but you could just do one.
True, true. Yeah, dude. I feel you. Like, I mean, I think it's like I said, like personal preference. I know some friends that are only sub, and I know some friends that are only dub. I can get heads around. I prefer dub because, like you were saying about the art, like especially with the action. Like, I want to just enjoy it. I want to be just visually hooked into it instead of kind of going up and down, up and down. I can. A good sub is for me something slice of life where there's a lot of dialogue. I don't have to miss out on a lot of other details. I can
Mm.
I can kind of take in the story a little bit more and not miss out on. So that's where I prefer going into sub. Dub, if I started with you in dub, it's really hard for me to go anywhere else. Though I was like you, I did watch Super in sub as it was coming out. Um, and then rewatched it as it was on Toonami. But I don't know. It just it's situational. It just depends. But I prefer like the Dragon Ball cast. I've grown up with those voices in my head. I've associated the voices to each character. So you take that away, it's almost like another actor playing. Imagine you're watching a live action show, and then one week the same character are there, but they're by different actors. It's like what? It just kind of that there's a disconnect there for me. So I have to kind of if
Yes.
keep it
Especially
consistent.
in long running ones like
Yeah,
those. Yeah.
yeah,
Uh
yeah.
so speaking on your favorites, man, where do you draw parallels and connect like what characters in Dragon Ball do you connect with? We'll start with Dragon Ball. What character in Dragon Ball are you always like, oh, that's my dude. I feel what you're feeling, or I felt a version of what you're feeling. Like you've been there. Like you were like, whenever Majin Buu turned people into candy, I really felt that because I always want to turn motherfuckers into candy. Not that, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Man, I'll tell you what, like when I first got into Dragon Ball, I don't know, I'm a sucker for the main protagonist and really a lot of stories. And so Goku definitely growing up. But as I've gotten older, I'll tell you it's weird. I've towards Gohan. And I think it's because Gohan speaks for more people these days because he's half Saiyan, half human. It, I think he speaks for the fact that a lot of us deal with this pool of what we are and what we should be, or what we want to do and what we're told to do.
that's
So,
why he's the only Saiyan with any like common sense and doesn't senselessly fight shit and has some
yeah,
strategy. Like
but that's what makes him better in a lot of ways because it's
yeah.
kind of like, he has, Goku was raised on Earth, you know, was Superman. Superman was raised
Oh yeah.
here on Earth, and he became who he was. But there's stories of like what would happen if he landed somewhere else, right? And I think that's what
Right.
they tried to do with Dragon Ball Super Broly was kind of show that Broly is a product of his environment. Is he a
That's a
completely
good
bad
point.
dude? I don't know. We don't know because he was treated like shit. Goku was
So we're gonna
around
give him
loving
a
people.
chance on this exiled little thing
Yeah,
now, and
yeah.
and and plot armor for later if we need, a super strong.
Exactly. Some strong ass plot armor. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, Gohan is like my dude now, and that's why I just relate with that. I think that you can identify with it in your own way. But this whole like, hey, this is what you need to do and what you should be versus what you want to do, and what and how there's like a tug of war within yourself, and so I like that. I like Gohan. I like the idea of Gohan, and that's why I root for him today. to hopefully they'll fix him in Dragon Ball Super someday. Who knows?
Oh man, I'm telling you, man. He's such a disappointment. He really is. He's so
I know.
Chi got what she wanted, and like I thought it was pretty fucking clear that none of us wanted that.
Yeah.
I thought you were pissing us off with Chi on purpose constantly, and now you're pissing us off with Gohan. Like you made him into what she wanted that you knew that we hated. Like,
But I mean, only time will tell, man, right? Because it's looking like they are slowly planting the seeds to kind of go, hey, it's gonna take some time, but we're gonna try to course correct here with like Gohan. Like he started training.
I say it's too late. Fuck it. Let's focus on Goten.
Oh, no. Goten and Kid Trunks got shifted in Dragon Ball Super, bro. It's like they didn't even exist, man.
Bro,
it's like, hey, man.
Like, you're telling me Super Saiyan Gotenks couldn't have held their own in the fucking Tournament of Power?
That would have been cool, bro.
Oh my god. Like him taking on like a bunch of enemies at once with all of his little ghost kamikazes. Bro, there's so many. Or his galactic donut, bro, that moves galactic donut that could bind a bunch of enemies together and then you could whoop their ass. Like, there's so many. His moveset makes more sense in the Tournament of Power than Master Roshi. Bro, why is Master Roshi? Like, I loved Master Roshi in there. I loved it. It was very nostalgic. And when he did that classic, like, move with the jar and everything from the original Dragon Ball, like, I'm like, that's such a great callback. But he couldn't have held his own in there. Like Ox King would have been better off than fucking Master Roshi.
I don't know about that. Well, I mean, they're probably equal now, and that was the thing. Like, I'm on the fence, bro, because I'm such an advocate for like, okay, Dragon Ball. At a certain point, it was like all about the Saiyans. Every awesome character that's from Earth or whatever, who's not a Saiyan, you're just a cheerleader. And so Tournament of Power comes and we get Master Roshi, Piccolo, Team, Krillin, like all of them. And so I should feel like, but then it was just like, but man, honestly, you could have done a lot of other things. Bro, like I was actually kind of excited.
Used Deborah, we could have used.
I wanted Boo in there, bro. I think, and I thought like Boo coming in there would be cool, but they brought Frieza in, and that turned out to be really interesting.
Oh, that was
and Frieza as a character, is interesting, but yeah. A lot of missed opportunities, obviously, but they wanted to try some new things and also pay respects to, like you said, a lot of the callbacks to the previous and the original. So it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah. Right. I mean, you can't. There's pros and cons to it. But sure. Who would you say your parallels you identify with in My Hero then?
Oh, bro, it's Deku, man. It's just
Deku. You a protagonist guy? Okay. Deku. Yeah.
Like a Deku tattoo, man, or something.
Okay. Okay. Hell yeah, bro. I kind of just want like that face of him crying, like looking at the computer screen, like pointing, like.
Yeah. I know, right? Bro, Deku's just there was something about, and I've mentioned this on my own podcast, and every time I bring up My Hero, because it's one of the biggest reasons why I got really reignited with passion towards anime again, because it came to me in a time in my life where the messages in My Hero are what I needed, and a lot of people might find that silly. Oh, like, well, you found like motivation and inspiration from like an anime or cartoon or whatever. The whole plus ultra mentality, the themes in the story of My Hero, as far as Deku being this kid that wanted to be a hero in a world of heroes. It's one thing if me and you are sitting here like, I want to be a superhero. Well, they don't really exist, so we can like let ourselves down easy. But imagine being like really wanting to be something that's your dream. Everyone around you is telling you like, nah, sorry, not for you, kid. Move on, find something else. And the fact that, he gets that opportunity and just his attitude towards it and that whole journey,
The
character arc
right.
is something that just I've fallen in love with, man, and I'm
The
excited because it's so
appreciation
fresh.
of being given your own lane, your own way to do the thing that you were told you couldn't. I
Mm.
feel that. I feel that hard.
Mhm. Yeah, just that opportunity, man. Like, I mean, how many
But then like
people?
the way Deku, the way that Deku doesn't just and the way he doesn't just take it for granted, you know? Like he really
Yes.
values the fact that he came from absolutely zero power and zero hope, and like he really like will reflect on that and use that as
Mhm.
inspiration to keep going. And
Yes.
I do too, man. I do too.
Bro, this man gets it. You get it, dude. I mean, that's it. That's basically what it is. Like somebody got an opportunity to shine, but didn't forget where they came from, and didn't, oh, think like, okay, now I'm better than everybody else. Now, I have this power. Like, Deku has one of the strongest powers imaginable, and power corrupts. And the fact that he's able
Mhm.
to keep a cast around him, it keeps him humble. Like Bakugo, people think he's a dick, but he
Oh, if he
keeps
didn't have
Deku humble.
Kachan to keep him in check, bro,
Exactly.
he would have got big headed over and over.
Oh, for sure, dude. And that's what's it. I always root for the underdog. I love as a builder and who's pushing themselves to prove other people wrong. And it's more about proving yourself right. Like Deku was like, I'm going to be a hero. Like regardless of what anybody tells me, that is what that's what I'm gonna do. And his own mother was like, sorry, that's not gonna happen. So you
Bro.
literally,
That
not
shit
having that
hurts.
support. I
That
mean,
shit
dude,
hurt.
it's
That shit hurts to
yeah.
just remember, bro. Like I remember that scene. That
It's relatable, bro. I think a lot of people look at
it
My
is.
Hero and find certain characters or themes and stories, like any anime or anything, a good story, a good anything. Um, that's why, I have such a passion for this. It's something to make you feel. It's one thing to have just entertainment and enjoyment, but there's something that even with Pokemon entertained the shit out of us for years, there are certain stories and certain things that we connect to, that we thread to, and have like kind of made us who we are. Like especially from a kid to now, as we grow older, there's certain messages in anime and a lot, especially shonen, like don't give up, believe in yourself. Like these seem like childish ideas because in a lot of ways they are, but they're the most important ones. They're the ones that
The
like
fundamentals,
early
yeah.
on. Bro, exactly. Because life is going to get harder and there's going to be these different things where you need to keep that in mind. And like, what would Goku do? Like, what would Deku do? Like in a situation, Deku would help somebody out. Goku
Hey, my
wouldn't give
kid,
up.
no, hey, my kid not allowed to say what would Goku do because Goku gonna just pick the strongest guy and fight him for
Oh
fun.
no, yeah, true, true. Well, I think it would, but Goku
Maybe
was
there's
so
something to
cool
be said
because
about
even
that mentality. Maybe there's something.
mm, that's true. That's true. I mean, like Goku, I always liked because he would, if he was in a competition, he'd do that. But even through Dragon Ball, they weren't ever looking for confrontation. They were trying to help somebody, and then they attracted trouble. There's all these different things. Like he was never using his power to just like flex on people. Like, yo, I'm Goku. I'm the strongest in the room. Who's around? Who wants some?
Right, he can't
Come
walk in like
on,
that.
step
Exactly.
up.
It's like, oh hey, I heard you're the strongest. You want to fight?
Yes. Yeah, or if like, somebody picked on one of his friends, he's like, all right, now I got to turn it on. But I
Right.
thought that was cool. Like Clark Kent still goes to work every day, you know? Like Goku
Right.
still has fun. He
Peter
can't.
Parker still takes pictures of Spider-Man, bro. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think when you're dealing with characters that are powerful beyond imagining, you have to keep them grounded. They need to have something in their
Right.
character that keeps them human. Because if not, they're godlike characters. I mean, literally, Super Saiyan
Right.
gods. So Goku at any point could have had a bad day and blown up Earth and been like, I'm done with all y'all. It's all over. But instead, he's constantly trying to enjoy life and hang out with the people he loves. But like trouble always finds him. It's kind of like the Avengers. I think Vision says like, because there's so many heroes rising, There's so many villains that come down, and I think that's true with like Dragon Ball. Goku comes to Earth, yeah, he saved it, but the only reason why it was ever in danger was because he was there. So what's that say? And then you got something like My Hero Academia, where you have heroes and villains, but it's not really that. People just got powers. But just like in the real world, some people use their power and abilities for good. Some people use it for, and there's that moral debate that's like really interesting. So, yeah, man, it's all good stuff.
Yeah, I love the way My Hero really has all the different roles. Like, and have you watched Black Clover at all?
Dude, I'm gonna be honest, man. I tried, but I haven't got super into it. But I watched a good chunk. I don't know as much, but so I know like certain characters and I know the premise and stuff, but I haven't like gotten sucked in. A lot of people say it's really good. It's been hard for me because the main character is just so hyped. But
dude, he stops. He
kind of chills.
Okay, so my girl started this week. I'm up to date and having to watch the. Luckily, it's so it's simulcast, which means that it's being dubbed and subbed, but and it's week by week. It's not even seasonal. It's gonna keep going till it's done.
Wow.
And the thing is it's like it'll put the dub out like 2 weeks, 3 weeks after the sub, and I'll just watch the sub. Like, it's that good. I'm just saying.
Wow.
Anyway, yeah.
Good.
But but for someone who loves the character with no power and being relentless in his, I don't care, I have to do it, and like figuring it out just by being like, no, that's not not doing it's not the fucking option, dude. And I just, for if the parallels you love with Deku, I think you'll also find with Asa. But rewatching with my fiance, man, she just got to season 2 of it, and I completely forgot until I was talking to my other friends about this too. He was like, I hate that he yells so much. And I was like, he don't yell that much. And then my girl was watching, I was like, oh, he yells the whole first season. How did I get through that? It's weird because where I watch it now, I'm like, oh, that's not, he develops as a character. It was shit writing, but it also plays into his character development. You just watch him become so self-aware and like understanding of resolve. His understanding of resolve becomes his kind of like defining characteristic. Like, and that's what he instills on his enemies as he battles them, and he doesn't kill people and to just defeat them. He's like, no, I don't get it. Tell me why you're doing this. Like, the whole time he's whooping that ass.
Well, that's good to hear.
And everyone else is like, dude, just fucking kill him because he's putting the entire world in danger right now. And he's like, I need to ask him a question. Jesus.
Dude, these famous, man. I'll tell you. And that's good though. Like, that's like a lot of these characters. A lot of people said Deku cried too much in the first season, or just in general, No. So I mean,
but maybe it's just because I'm overly emotional. But like, I'm like, yes, I don't just cry whenever things are sad. Like, I cry when I get excited about watching my favorite show, just like Deku watching All Might. And I like, bro, I can't even begin to list the amount of, like, I'm one of those people that gets like chills or like goosebumps over everything,
dude,
bro.
It's cool.
Like,
I mean, hey man, wear your heart on your sleeve, dude. I mean, and that's the thing that like people do that and they do it in their own different ways. Like, he's crying, and then you got someone who's like overly passionate, very hype and very outgoing, very energetic. With Deku crying and stuff, I think it just shows that with great power doesn't mean that you have to be stern. I think one of the cool messages of My Hero is this whole thing of like, going through like life with
he's
a smile
not
on your
a
face.
super masculine, like macho, like All Might is, and Deku's so different, but it's the same power in a different way. Like, it doesn't mean that power means you have to be that type of guy. Like, you can do it in your own Deku ass way. Like,
yeah, you can be different. Like, Like All Might had to be is he's weak in some places, and he is probably more like Deku as far as being emotional, but so many people rely on him, that it feels like he always has to like promote this like confidence and everything's okay. So I think it's different, man. But Deku probably shows more of a relatability towards people, probably, as the show and story goes on. Like people
Right.
will be able to say symbol of peace, but know that he's that hero, but he's also the guy that's gonna like, laugh and giggle and have those awkward moments and not always be so like perfect, shiny,
Mm-hmm.
pearly white teeth. I said teats, I think, bro. Oh my god. Teeth. But teeth. Yeah, bro. So I don't know, man. I just love it for everybody, and that's a good anime. That's a good story. When you have like a really good main character, but then everybody else around him or her is as equally strong. I mean, look, Pokemon's cool, but it's really cool because there's 150 plus Pokemon that you probably like. That's
Mhm.
so many, and you can like them for whatever reason you want. You might think this Pokemon's cute, cool. You might think this Pokemon's cool as fuck. I mean,
Or just
whatever
like
works for
you
you.
like the way that like Mankey crawls on shit, or you like the flower
Yeah.
on the top of a vial plume. Like you like
Yeah.
different things, man. And that's why I love asking people what their walk around is, because everybody got a lot of people go with the same ones, but man, whenever someone has something off kilter, I'm just like if someone, bro, like if I meet someone that's like, oh, I love Vileplume, I'm like, why though? Tell me
Why?
why.
Can you tell
Not
me?
being mean, I really want to know why. It's so
Right.
different.
Oh, dude, there's so much variety, and that's why I'm excited for the new game, dude. Because we still probably have not seen a lot of the Pokemon that are in that game. You know what I'm
Bro,
saying?
they usually you okay, so I usually follow I I'll go like every time a Pokemon game's released, I'm like, oh shit, I forgot that this is my favorite thing.
Yeah.
and and I follow the data mining that happens then whenever the games get released. But right now, the website link that I sent you, bro, that is all that we know. That is everything.
Wow.
That is
Wow.
it. There's probably 70 or so Pokemon that we don't know about right now. And that
That's
is
awesome.
mind blowing.
Ah, dude, that's cool though, man. That's exciting. I mean, I think that's part of the because we're talking about it earlier in this episode about covering what to do in these games as kids. We didn't know all 150 Pokemon. That's something you started to see. You would see a
Right.
Pokemon in the anime and go, "Oh, let me jump on my game. Let me see if they're in there." Like they are, but I haven't came across them. Vice versa.
Exactly. When they're
So,
like,
and
who's
it's
that Pokemon?
so
I'm like,
exciting.
bitch, I really don't know yet.
I don't.
Bitch, I
Yes,
really don't
tell me.
know.
Who is it? I want to know. Like, that's exciting, man. It's about this journey that I feel like was always fun, and definitely when you were mentioning like just popping up on Pokemon, like as you're walking through the grass, that excitement of like, okay, I'm about to go into this next part of this game. I don't
Or
know what
like
kind of
the
Pokemon are out
music
there.
picking up, the fucking
Yeah,
screen
yeah,
twirling. You're like,
yeah.
and it's like, "Argh."
Shit's about to go down, and it's fun, man. It just was like I don't think there'll ever be a game like it, and I think that's why I'm so excited for this new one, um, because I've been really wanting to revisit a lot of the classics, and but like it's weird. Sometimes they're so nostalgic and precious that hey man, these games have done really well to age. But then, man, I have a Game Boy Advance. A friend sent me. It's hard to play and get into a game nowadays when you're used to having your iPhone or Android
Mhm.
that got a nice ass bright 720 HD screen or whatever plus, and then you're on this Game Boy Advance looking down trying to get some light, and oh my batteries are dead. You get some double A's. It's just
Uh-huh.
but there is something about it that is like amazing, but I'm also ready for fresh new experiences, so I'm excited, man. I'm excited for the Switch one.
It's a good way to put it, man. I also have zero preconceptions about these fucking legendaries that are in there. They just
Ooh.
look like we don't even know the typing. We don't even know what type
Oh, are
they
you
are.
talking about the Sword and Shield Pokemon?
Yeah, at the very bottom of that list, man, dude, they're huge. Like they look like where the Entei Raikou. It looks like what the
Yeah.
like three legendary dog type Pokemon. It looks like maybe they came from these things. Like these things are the most like obviously they're legendary.
Which one are you picking, man? Like which game are you gonna pick up if you get it? Which one are you leaning toward?
Oh, just looking at it right now, man. I mean, swords are so cool, right? Like I mean, obviously I want to choose sword, but the design, based on just the design,
Mhm.
I think shield because it just looks so cool. That Pokemon looks so badass.
Yeah. I'm,
I don't know.
I'm right there. I'm gonna get Shield.
Well,
Because
actually, it'll depend. Whenever the full version is released, like I don't think I'll have a Switch by then, and I'll be able to find out because there'll be a lot of other ones that'll be like,
okay.
well, the one that's similar to this one, these two are really similar, but one's in this and one's in this. They always do that shit. They always do that shit.
I know, man. It's unique, but it's also a hassle, man. Because if you really want to collect them all, you're telling me I got to buy the same game twice.
Right,
I
right.
don't. I
Like
don't know,
not
but I don't
not
know.
everyone has friends they play Pokemon with. And
Yeah.
that's like whole Nintendo's like thing. Like, well, then you just make friends with someone that has the other version and you trade them. I'm like, okay, that's like
Yeah.
5 steps of socializing that I'm really reluctant against.
That's hey man, I give Nintendo credit though because the thing about the Switch and really after Pokemon is like they want you to go outside and walk around or sit down with your Switch and someone to go, hey, you playing Pokemon? It's like, yeah, what's up? Which one you got? And spark those interactions. And I think that's what's fun about it. But as far as like
Ideals aren't always like applicable to every situation.
yeah, yeah, exactly, man. And one thing going back to those two Pokemon, the Sword and Shield. I feel when Pokemon had like where did that sword come from? Like he wasn't born with it, was he? I know, like that seems like a strange thing, or is it
Right?
like this really
Pokemon don't
cool?
have weapons, bro. I
Yeah, well,
mean,
Cubone, but like that's like a bone
oh,
and
dude, you know what I
yeah.
just realized? They're
What's
totally
up?
gonna make they're totally gonna make Sir Fetched on the
Hmm.
sword one only. Like think about it. Think
No,
about it. He's got a
it's
sword,
serious.
bro. I mean, well, he also has a shield. Look at him. He has the sword and a shield. So I guess
Yeah,
but I feel like
his nose
I
and
don't know.
eyes are so cool. He's so fun, man. He's such a cool. He's got a
There's
cool
more
design.
design in that Pokemon than there has been in a long time.
Dude, yeah, man, and you don't have to go out of this world crazy. I just come up with something
Right?
clever. I mean, it
Right?
looks
Like the legendaries are out of this world crazy, honestly. Like I mean it's
dude,
Pokemon,
so
so like I have my favorite, but like I didn't need them to be that, bro. I don't need that much. It's a little much.
well,
They could have
much. Yeah.
just been colored like that. They don't have to have all these add-on like wings and fucking shields and then they have the flowing hair on
All
top of
this
that.
extra stuff. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Some of the designs can be really out there, man. And some of the they can be also pretty boring and simple, like a Voltrobe
or,
or a Electrode or something like that, where it's
or
just a
a
ball pretty
ditto.
much. Or
Right.
a Ditto,
But
yeah, he's slime.
My hero also, you know what we were talking about? My hero, for some reason, it seems like the perfect pacing and it seems for someone to get started with anime, but I don't think you can start with My Hero if you haven't watched the anime because the characters in the background and the different not main characters in My Hero are so fucking weird anime shit.
Yeah,
they're
that's true.
so they're
That's true.
so weird. Who's your favorite? What's your favorite quirk that's not Deku, like not the main? It can be
Ooh.
anyone in his class or any of the teachers. Like Like if I had to choose one personally, I got it's pretty lame, but the Sugar Rush guy, bro. If I could eat a donut and whoop
That's
ass,
lame, dude. That's cool, bro. That's not lame at all, bro. Yo, yeah, that's a unique ability. Like, look, man, the thing about My Hero, that the pitch for that is like, for as big as MCU, Marvel, DC superhero movies and culture is, it seems like a cool entry into anime if you're into that. But the thing I've always liked about those characters, like superheroes and especially like X-Men, right? The mutants. And this is
powers.
but like the way they explain it in Hero, they do a really good job of saying, hey, he shoots like explosions, like Bakugo, right? Well, it's because it's from his sweat, and that's why his gauntlets are like this, and everything has like a very
reason. Yeah.
You know, meaning and reason. Yeah. So as far as like the quirks themselves, I mean, dude, I'm a sucker for Todorokis because I just think that's cool. That,
I mean,
you know,
you
it's
can't
I
beat
always
Fire
liked
Knights.
can't, dude. Like I've always thought that the Human Torch and Iceman were cool, and now you have Todoroki, which is both of them together, and he's got this cool like he'd be like the Batman of the My Hero universe, because he just has that tragic backstory, and he's just like, I'm bad, but I'm not like your super bubbly, outgoing Superman type.
Right. I wonder.
Drawn, but I do. There,
Go ahead.
no, you good, man. Go for it.
No, I hope we get more backstory on a few of the other side characters like that. Like I want to know where Dark Shadow came from ASAP.
Ooh, yeah. And
Bro, ASAP.
I try to do the best job that I can to avoid spoilers and things like that are out there in the manga. But, you know, there's certain characters, you know, names who are going to get some answers for certain things, like maybe Dark Shadow, because that's such a unique ability, honestly. You know, that almost doesn't feel like it's a quirk. It's almost like he's possessed
it's
by
like
something.
yeah.
You know, so like but how does that play? I mean, the creativity when it comes to the powers, and not only just the powers, but how they work and their limitations, because that's the thing about all of these characters, like Deku, Z, the story, he has all this power, but it comes with a cost. There's a trade-off. Like, hey, you know, I can be really strong, but I might hurt myself. You know, Todoroki.
And he doesn't ever just like conquer it either. Like he's still like it's still an issue. Like
yeah, it's kind of like just because character arc. You know, you want these characters to not be OP, know exactly what they're doing, and this like control over these powers right out the bat. You wouldn't have anything to look forward to. But the fact that they're out of school, and they're starting to learn, and we get to see that slow growth and evolution of like, oh, remember when so and so could only do this, but now their costume's different. Now they have these support items, and now he can do this with his power, and he's learned how to fight like this. It's cool. It really gives you a lot to look forward to, and a lot of excitement.
Makes it a little more immersive. That you're like, oh shit, it's like it's believable. I mean, it's completely unrealistic, but it's believable.
Yeah, because they're taking it with you step by step. They're not just going, all right, here's all these powers and how they work. Just
exactly.
Go with it.
I've never been able to get into an anime that starts that way. It's like has a whole team of badasses and you meet them one by one, but you already saw them fight in the beginning or some shit. And I'm like, oh, it's not really. I'm not gonna fall for it.
Right, and it's kind of like the difference between starting with Dragon Ball in Z in the Saiyan saga and seeing Goku and where he's at.
Dragon Ball.
Yeah, because then you can appreciate like the steps it took for him to learn what he learned.
Remember when it took like 2 years to find the Dragon Balls, you bitch?
Yeah, no, man. and transform, because Super just like was like transformations for everyone. You get a transformation. You get a it was
Oprah handing out the
completely over. Everybody, you want to be Super Saiyan? Hey, go for it. You don't even want to call it Super Saiyan? Fine. Call it Ultra Instinct. Call it whatever you want. We don't care. Change your hair color blue, red, purple, yellow. We don't care, man. It's fun, man. I mean, but that's why you watch it. You know, you're watching these characters. You want
Right.
you want to meet them when they're at their lowest. So when they're at their highest, you went on that journey with them, and you understand the process. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the things for men that's hard for people to relate is he's always strong. I mean, he's like got that one weakness, but really, there's no growth. He's like invincible. But to see like a character like Goku, we meet him initially as a kid. Now he's got grandkids, you know. Then you got someone like Vegeta, who started out as a villain. Now he's got a family. You know, there's character
Right.
growth, and that arc is really cool. Piccolo,
Oh my gosh, yeah, King
introduced
Piccolo
as a
to
villain.
the best stepdaddy there ever was. That's character development in a
Yeah.
nutshell.
So you got to give anime credit for telling really good stories, creating. Yeah, they're kind of weird characters. Or what, like it's if it's the look and design or the personality. But I mean, if you follow them on this journey, a lot of people said Naruto does a really good job of providing a lot of depth and growth for side characters and a lot of the cast.
It's
So
the
and
biggest point of Naruto, I think, is everybody's growing up in their own individual ways, man. It's really it's my favorite anime of all time.
man, I have not really seen it.
No, it's okay, man. You
Oh,
probably the only
okay.
person.
Okay.
I
All
swear, I feel like that's no
right.
one. I feel like no one else even would like talk to like me about my podcast if they haven't seen Naruto. So the fact that you at least are interested in anime a little bit, I have high hopes that you'll eventually one day
Oh,
watch Naruto.
dude. I have so many people hounding me about that, and you know, I know I'm gonna like it. This is what I've told everybody. I have a long list of animes that I'm gonna get to. I'm not gonna rewatch Dragon Ball. I do like these Dragon Ball Z movie reviews on the podcast, but I don't know if I'll ever like rewatch the whole thing. But
Right, right.
there's so many animes out there that are so good, and I know I'm gonna like it. I just need to get into it, and it's been so fun recently because we've gotten so many new ones like Attack on
But
Titan,
the
My
new
Hero
ones are
Academia.
so good. The new ones are
Oh, they're
so
so good,
good.
dude. Because they've learned from the ones previous. Like they took some of the best elements out of these other ones that came
Mhm.
before them and just perfected it, I think, in a lot of ways. And so like I need to find that good balance of keeping up to date with like modern recent ones and then also go revisit classics like Naruto and One Piece,
Well, you know what? I'll
Bleach,
tell you
stuff like
right
that.
now. Don't. Oh, Bleach. Hey, don't. Okay. One thing. Just forget about the mountain that is unattainable. That is One Piece. Don't just. I think
Okay.
we should. I think we should. We
Just
should.
walk
At
away.
least me too. I'm sorry to people in the comments, man, but I do not. I think we. That's a. It's a goal. It's a goal. You know,
It's
maybe
there.
one day when I honestly think it'll be like 10 years away. And I'll be like watching it with my kid passively, like while they're like drooling still, you know. But
God.
Bleach is one that people sleep on, but don't watch Black Clover till you watch Naruto. Because Black
Okay.
Clover is what fills the void of people that love Naruto, in my opinion.
Okay.
You're
Okay.
if not that Black Clover is not amazing, but like it is, and it's so amazing that I feel like you'll appreciate it more if you watch Naruto
Yeah.
first,
Well, and then
especially
like
the whole rivalry thing.
that's the thing, man. Like some of these older ones or that have been out are pretty intimidating. You know, like there's so much awesome video games, movies, television, anime,
Content, man.
books,
Content,
content. Yeah, a podcast, you know,
right?
YouTube videos out there that can be intimidating to go, hey, check out this series. Well, it's like a couple hundred episodes long. You're like, woo, you know, like I'm lucky
Like,
to
you
have
realize what
grown
you
up.
just asked me to do, bro? You just asked me like on a whim to like throw away weeks of like my like consuming time, like of
Just
time that I
chuck it out the
consume
window.
content.
Well, the thing
Right.
about anime that I've always appreciated is that you can just roll through it. In 2 hours, you can go through like, you know, about
Eight
four, maybe five.
episodes.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
like that's better than like a show like Game of Thrones or something where it's like an hour long episode that you have to like really, oh, I'm 5 seasons behind. Jeez, bro, you're asking a lot now. But you
Uh-huh.
know, with them being like the size that they are in the way that, man, anime does such a good job of leaving you with these like cliffhangers at the end of each episode, and you just want to roll into it, especially with for hours and be like, damn, I've watched like 8 episodes. What happened to my afternoon? I thought this fight just finished. I guess it took that many episodes, but you get so caught up into it, man. As long as you're having fun, man. And I'm gonna get to a lot of these that are on my list. But I'm just having fun with like My Hero 4 just started, so that's a week to week. Fire Force, Doctor Stone, Food Wars, so many other ones.
I only watched the first episode of Fire Force. I'm really excited to watch some more of that one.
Bro,
It's a very different anime.
it is, man. I'll tell you, man. We'll have to make an exchange, man. We'll keep each other accountable, like we're going to the gym or something. I'm gonna be like, you watch Fire Force, and I'll start getting on some Naruto, okay, man. And then we'll have a progress report in a couple months.
Bro, you finished Naruto, and I just did a deep dive. I just did a deep dive last week with a friend that just finished original Naruto, and I would love to do that with anyone that finishes Naruto because that is like, it's such a pure thing that I really value, and it really changed me as a person. So like to see other people like see like the like sense of wonder it fills people with is so awe-inspiring that it's like something cool to capture. But
bro, let me ask you real quick though, man, about that. Like, what was it about the show that got you hooked? Like,
so with Naruto, it was the lack of friends. I've had different friend groups and shit, and
right.
I, like growing up, and like I've always been the outsider of the friend group. Like there was always like a core, like there's always the like 3 friends that were the best of friends in that friend group, and then like there was that second layer, and then third. I was always like in that second layer, and I was never like anyone's best friend or anything. And the fact that Naruto was just trying so hard to hold on to his best friend that didn't want anything to do with him, I felt awe-inspired, and it like made me want to have a friendship, create a friendship and a bond that I would want to fight someone for that person wanting to take away from me. So like just like that was really insightful.
Dude, hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. I mean, honestly, I think that's why I appreciate anime now as I'm older, because there's things like that. Like you get older and you realize like, man, having friends like that, having those conversations or connections with people, like this is our first time talking, but the fact that we can take
exactly,
but we're enjoying our each other's company. We're having this awesome conversation, and that's what's so cool. It's like this, as anime has brought people together. It has made you feel like you're not alone. You're watching this guy. Yeah, he's going through some of those hardships, but that's just somebody wrote that. They must have went through something similar. Like that happens all around, and you're gonna find people now that
comes from somewhere real and resonates with other people who felt that realness, man.
Hell yeah,
that's what this podcast is about, man. Like yours is finding out like the reason people create things. Mine are finding out the reasons people consume the things that those people create.
That's
how
cool, dude.
That. Because like,
I mean,
not everything has a reason. Not all of it. Like Food Wars, I just fucking like the cooking show. Like, but like, I mean, but all of them, not all of them, but most of them, the more you watch it, especially if you're watching 100 or 200 episodes of something, you'll realize eventually, even the most oblivious people, I would like to think, realize or have some introspective thoughts and realize something about themselves in relation to what they're watching.
Yeah.
Like whether it be Vegeta being an asshole and like, or being like a shit dad, and like someone else had a shit dad. Like there's so many different ways that you can be drawn to anime for like reasons.
There's something out there for everyone, dude. I mean, and that's why you watch. I mean, there's some things we all have guilty, like mindless entertainment. But and some people can look at anime in that way. Well, when you're watching fights, what are you getting at that? Well, that's where all the story and character development come into play. Because what are they fighting for, you know? And What's at stake? So
Well, for me, so I don't. This is our first time talking. So I 2.5 years ago now, uh, almost 3 years actually. I lost 200 pounds. I used to weigh 420 pounds.
hey, good
Yeah,
job. Good
and
job.
what I did was I chose an anime. I started with, I don't know why. Well, I do know why. A friend just recommended it to me, but he didn't know what he was doing. He just was like, dude, because I was watching Dragon Ball Super week by week at work, and he was like, "Yeah, but like, do you watch anime?" And I was like, "Yeah, I watch Dragon Ball." I was like, "No, I know, but like, do you watch other anime?" And I was like, "No." And he put me on to Bleach, and I was like, I don't know. It was something about when I decided to make my resolve of not wanting to be fat and watching anime. I chose what I did was I chose a a show that I wanted to not go further in unless I was at the gym exercising, doing my
Ooh,
cardio, because I make cardio last 20 minutes to an hour every day when I go to the gym. So if I
nice.
like have a show that I can't stop, then I would stay on longer, and it became the and but the not just that, not just wanting to progress in the show, but watching characters struggle in fights. That's what this all ties back to, watching them struggle in the fights while I'm fighting just to catch my breath, and it resonated with me on a different level where I see that character struggle anytime, and I feel like I am too. It takes me back to pushing myself, and
Mm,
uh, I've found ways to apply that to almost all anime that I watch, because I watch them at the gym for the most part.
bro, that's dope as hell, man. I mean, really, because one of the core things that you can pull from a lot of these shows and stories is this like pushing yourself beyond your limits. But the whole social stuff. Well, there was really a catchphrase in Dragon Ball, but you always saw Goku and them training. They were always pushing themselves. They were never giving up, and they were always like looking for the next challenge. And so yeah, it may not be some villain. Sometimes the villains that we deal with are like parts of ourselves that we have to conquer, and we have to have that
Right.
like that push, that motivation. We need to surround ourselves with images, stories, people that are going to go like, look, nothing comes without some kind of sacrifice, without putting some hard work into it, whether that's something physical or even mental or both, And so, dude, I think that's fucking awesome because really my hero in that whole, I want to be like him, mom, I want to save the world with a smile on my face, no matter what's going on. This like keep this level of positivity, no
The
matter
optimism, yeah.
what that we need as adults, as kids, as
Hmm.
human beings to get through life and all the challenges that come our way, that we produce ourselves, whatever it may be,
No,
that there is a way to conquer these things, and you just have to you find those things that you can equip yourself that charge you up. It doesn't matter what it is, man. And I think that was really cool how you were like incorporating all this into one thing, and look at how it's benefited you, bro. That's
bro.
fucking amazing. So congratulations, much
Thanks.
respect, dude. I
Thanks,
think
man.
that's awesome, dude. But yeah, dude, I think that's what's so cool, and I think that's why you have to have these kind of conversations to really fully realize the impact of what things and stories and cultures have on people, like how it can have real life positive effects. Hours of anime, man, that's lame. It's like, okay, sure. Well, what do you do? Everybody has their thing, but what
Bro,
has that thing done
exactly.
for you? And as long as it's making positive, waves in your whole life, that's hey,
Especially
dude.
especially anime. Anime is so easy for we're adults now, but I still say adults, to
Yeah,
turn
yeah,
their nose up at, to look down on,
yeah.
like the it's so easy to look down on and, view as kiddish, but like, bro, you can't deny what I did was like a grown up resolve. I had a real life
Yeah.
resolve from what I watched and shit. Like, you can't take that from me, so I can't deny the realness of what I felt. And
Exactly.
I really think it's becoming more and more mainstream, so it's not going to be overlooked as much anymore. But like, it's still like, to people like in this shithole factory in this hick town that I live in, man, like it's still going to be like the weird thing to them. Meanwhile, they're just missing out on these wonderful life lessons and shit. Like, I don't care
Hmm.
how old you are, bro. I could find you an anime. Come on.
Yeah, yeah,
Come on,
yeah,
let me
yeah.
try. Bro, like
That's
I bet
it.
this old dude my work would love Berserk. You know, just certain weird,
Ooh,
or Attack on Titan. Like there's certain, or people that like funny stuff. You show them One Punch Man. There's something for everyone, man. And
most definitely.
it'll find its way to weasel into your decision making and morality in life. You don't even realize it, man.
I think, and that's the coolest aspect of it. And as I've gotten older, I've realized, I'm sure you have, and everybody watching, that these things that we took in growing up or even later, anything, the people you're around, your environment, the stories and characters that you look up to and idolize or relate to, they're playing a role in the person that you are, who you're becoming, way, and that's up to you to be selective. So whether it's anime, whether it's a comic book, whether it's whatever. I mean, think of all the
When
bands
you're
or music you listen to that
when
you
you're
just are like,
really in
dude,
Yes. Yes,
yeah.
exactly. Music, like all of that can shape who you are. When you're really indulging in something, it's like you're spending your time with like who that like that character or like that, like it's like if you're surrounding yourself with it, then that is what you are,
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
like if I watch a bunch of like fucking Dragon Ball, I can't say I don't like somewhat resonate with like what Goku is as a person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you
Or why
can't
why would you watch it then? You know what I'm saying? If there's nothing
exactly.
there
You
for
didn't
you.
get that far.
it- but that's also an argument for people who don't get it, don't have an interest in it. It's just like, think of the things that you don't like. It's not that it's bad per se. It's just not for you. You've just been lucky enough to find what is for you, and you're feeding off of that. It's making you happy. It's also bringing a lot more other things like enjoyment, motivation, all that good stuff. That's different for everyone. So people need to start thinking about that. Like, okay, you might not like anime or get it, but you don't need to put it down just because you don't get it. Like, I don't put down people who, I don't, but it is what it is, so we
I
don't
don't
always have
because that's
to
what anime
agree.
taught me, bro. I
Yo,
don't
true. But I don't know, man. It's just like everything's different for everyone. We've kind of gotten to a point where, we want all we. If I like something, man, it feels so good to hear someone like you relay that. And we don't that people like it when other people understand you and like what you like. But you can take it personal sometimes when people don't, like, they just don't get it. And that's when you just got to walk away and go, hey man, you're missing out, but if you ever want to, the door's always open.
bro.
I'll lead you in the way, so
That's why I like anytime I go anywhere, I'm like in public, I'm gonna wear anime shirt just
mhm.
so that I know I'm gonna link up. If there is someone out there I could link up with,
But
I'm going to. He gonna
yeah,
say a cool Dragon Ball shirt or something, and I'm like, what's up, new
uh,
best friend?
yeah,
Already know.
yeah,
Already
yeah,
know.
for sure, dude. And that's it, man. That's the thing that's been cool about anime becoming more popular, I guess, more mainstream. I mean, look, companies like Netflix and Hulu and all these other streaming services are investing in anime, and
Yeah, they
so
have
it
their own original, versions. It's
yeah,
crazy. Like, but like I can't.
to be the
I
next live action hit, dude.
Oh, go ahead, go ahead. What'd you
Oh
say?
no, I was just saying, like, after like the Marvel movies, anime is next, everybody. I'm sorry.
Oh
That's
yeah.
just Hollywood's gonna be like, yo, how can we make this live action? Let's get it. So
Mhm.
just
The
watch out,
second
watch out.
somebody does a good live action is when we really need to be like, oh shit. The second like Dragon Ball or Naruto or One Piece or something gets a good live action that even the like fans of that anime consider good,
Mhm.
then everyone else is in trouble.
Oh, dude, my lifelong dream is to be the Kevin Feige of the Dragon Ball cinematic universe, bro. I have a plan. You know, we're gonna make it happen, guys.
You see it. Okay.
I see the vision, and Disney owns Dragon Ball live action rights now since they bought Fox. Everybody, so it's possible.
Oh,
Yes,
shit,
yeah, bro, yeah,
oh shit.
yeah. So it's possible they might one day just kind of go, well, I
Disney
guess it's
Plus
time.
series.
I will think about it like this, everybody. When it comes to live action adaptations of anime, I know there hasn't been many good ones, if any. That's a debate for another time. But all it takes is that one, like the Dark Knight, like the Batman, like that one
That changed
time.
superhero movies. That's
All it
Dark Knight
takes.
changed it, bro.
That's
That's
all
a
it
really
takes.
I didn't know that that's the point you were gonna make, and I didn't know that I knew that movie changed things. But as you said that, I was like, oh, yes, I know what he's saying. That changed it, didn't it? That movie created a wave, man, a butterfly effect.
Yeah, it grounded. It made it approachable to general audiences while paying the respects to the fans and the source material. And then MCU started to find its own niche, where it's like, okay, before if you look at not action, it's a little cringy. Some of it was good, and maybe that's just because I was a kid, But I'm saying like that's all it takes is that the right combination of director, writer, and actors. The vision
And
needs to be coherent,
badassness.
bro. The director of Thor Ragnarok is going to be doing what's he doing? He's doing a live action adaptation of I think it's Akira. Man, why is there's a lot of movies and things in the works, especially from Netflix and stuff. So all it takes is that one to get right, and everybody's going to follow and suit. It's kind of like Joker right now. Like these rated R.
Oh yeah.
Let's see
How many villain movies we get now, bro.
Ooh, can you imagine though, man?
Let's see.
Imagine that'd be
I would watch
crazy.
a whole one. Let's just do Batman ones. I would watch a whole one on the Riddler and a whole one on Penguin. I
Oh,
would
for
watch
sure,
both. I would watch entire movie on that because they're twisted for
bro.
different ways, you know?
Bro, there's so many awesome possibilities. Like when I thought about the live action Dragon Ball, it's like, dude, start in Dragon Ball. Start with a kid Goku. Tell that first story. Go through the Dragon Ball series. Really, go through the Red Ribbon Army. Then you can like try out things, and then you can like the Harry Potter series. You can just kind of go from light
The
to
fact that
dark. You
bro,
know,
in Harry Potter, but that's a good point. Like you could start, you just gotta start somewhere, and then all of a sudden now you can do a prequel that takes place 100 years before in a different continent.
bro. That's what I'm saying, bro. What if they did a Bardock, father of Goku, like live movie, and
Oh,
that pretty much
maybe
was like
that's
a
what they need to
standalone
do, so
movie,
it doesn't
rated
interrupt
R.
with.
Ooh.
Yes, that way we need it. We need a Dragon Ball live action to be a canon, but untouched
Yes.
prequel, like a prequel that's like
Yes.
like you can't have a opinion on it yet. Like it hasn't been like that story hasn't been
Bro,
told yet.
this would be so fun. Like imagine like we see Frieza. Frieza would be that Thanos that would be looming over the
Yes.
whole thing, but we see Frieza right off the bat, and then there's like a time skip. And
Right, but we don't
and
know
it's
how
kind of like
Frieza
Detective
became the leader of that
Pikachu.
army in the first place. For
Yeah.
real, bro.
We wouldn't get it, and that's what you could do, man. You could play with that. Like, and that's you have to test things out. Like Detective Pikachu, they mentioned everything in the world of Pokemon, but
That's exactly what it was. It was testing things
yeah,
out. Detective Pikachu was.
bro, from the world building to the designs, they're like, all right, we're gonna throw this out there. We're not gonna touch like Ash and Pokemon Red and Blue, like the actual canon stuff, but we're gonna
These are your favorite
well,
elements. What if we throw them together?
yeah, exactly, dude. Because that's what you want now, right? You want a Pokemon universe where there's like the story of either Red or some protagonist that plays that role and takes us on that adventure that we're familiar with. Whether it's going to be an Ash Ketchum or just somebody,
Right.
it's possible, bro. I mean, that's the thing. People are very against like I get it. The art style from anime is so specific and aesthetically pleasing to us as fans. It's hard to see live action, but we got that Cowboy Bebop thing coming on Netflix and stuff. And I think
did you just hear about the actor getting injured and getting delayed
yes.
7 months?
That sucks, dude. That
the
sucks.
Harold and Kumar guy.
Yeah, who's playing like the main dude, man, too.
Yeah,
Like, it sucks that he got hurt. But then hope that's a perfect anime to start doing live action. Like it's kind of like not so wacky that it's kind of, but it still plays around with like certain ideas, you know.
It's basically like Han Solo and Chewbacca, like anime, like prequel to Star Wars. Like that's what it's like these two dudes, like space pirates. Like it's such a adventure buddy aspect.
Oh yeah.
That it would, and it's not. I mean, it's like, you know, anime shit. It has anime shit qualities, but like, it doesn't. It doesn't get outlandish. It stays within the believability of even Star Wars almost, you know?
Yeah,
like you're like, it's not.
It stays grounded. Yeah.
It's not far-fetched. Or Sir-fetched.
Yeah. Dude, and that's why it could work, man.
I'm gonna start saying that. I'm gonna start saying Sir-fetched.
That's so Sir-fetched, bro. Get out of here with your Sir-fetched stuff.
Stop trying to make Sir-fetched a thing. It's not a thing.
No, man, it's gonna happen, dude. Hashtag Sir-fetched.
All right, man. Well, that's a lot longer than I wanted to, but it's not that I wanted to. It was longer than I expected. That was great. We've never talked before, so that was awesome, and I really got to know you and why you connect with anime.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me on, dude. This was a really cool conversation and experience, man. I would love to have you on WNDRSOUL and geek out about some anime and some more, dude.
Hell yeah, dude. Choose any topic, man, and I'll do my research like you and be ready.
Oh hell yeah, man. Dude, and you know, I love these like free-form conversations like the one we had right now, man, where it's like we talked about anime, but we weren't just specifically on Pokemon.
Right.
Bounce around. I love that because that's what's interesting, man. Like you start talking about one thing, it'll make you think of something else, and you're like, dude, where is this taking us? And you know, it can be so fun, man. So no, I definitely enjoyed this, man. This was our first time talking, so you never know how those are gonna go, but you're easy dude to talk to, man. I love the podcast so far, man.
Thanks,
so
man. No,
appreciate
I knew.
it.
I was like, wait, you like this, and this? We gonna be friends. Let me start this.
We're gonna link up. Yeah. It's awesome, man. It's awesome just talking to somebody who likes what you like. I mean, we were talking about it in this episode, and I think you just can connect. There's that common ground. It's established. Now we can just go back and forth and have a good time. So
exactly.
Yeah, man.
Exactly. All right. Well, anything you want to say? Like any plugs you wanna? Any new episodes coming up you're excited about?
Ooh, well, you know, all October I've been doing some Halloween themed episodes on the podcast, so that's fun. We're going to be wrapping that up next week, depending on when you're watching this, but at the end of October, we're going to be moving into some My Hero Academia Season 4 content, maybe some Harry Potter content, because I don't know, why not?
Yo, big Harry Potter fan, and I have no room to talk about that on my channel. I got Harry Potter tattoos, like multiple.
Bro, come on, man. We're gonna be talking about each movie. I'm trying to kind of keep up these themes and stuff for each month.
Hit me up.
Hell yeah.
If you want to talk about movies specifically, if you're gonna do it on movies, the fourth one, bro.
Goblet of Fire, boy. Yeah.
I will talk about the fourth one for longer than the fourth movie is. I will talk about it for 3.5 fucking hours.
Dude, I would love it, man. It's so fun, man. I mean, I think because the movies used to come out in November, and you know, there's just so much that I want to do, and I've been trying to keep everything pretty spooky and scary throughout the holidays.
That's such a perfect. That makes you feel, because they go through the holidays and the movies and shit. It really makes you feel like it's holiday season, bitch.
Yeah, dude, I love it, man. So, you know, just new episodes every week, man. Doing some streams on the Twitch channel, which you can find under The WNDRSOUL. There's content on YouTube. I do these wonders, which are beat tapes, things, visual
it out. But yeah, just been doing a lot of different episodes and different types of content, man. So there's always something new and something happening at WNDRSOUL. So yeah, man.
Nice. I'll put links for everything in the description, my dude.